Baby beard!
Alright, I'm a delivery boy!
Who is Hermes planning on killing?
I think we should let the orphans run free.
You've redeemed funds.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't.
He's just an old guy.
Can we talk about evil Lincoln?
Oh, of course.
Oh, this art needs to be sent. That's not the voice at all.
That's lobster tainment. Let's make it the Christmas. Let me ask you this. He was just about to agree with you.
Shut up and take my podcast.
I was really hoping you say, shut up, Sean, and take my podcast.
Shut up, Sean. Take my podcast.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. You're right?
Are you lowering your voice?
You're lowering my voice.
Hey,
No, I'm not.
welcome to
everybody.
the Deep Voice Man Hour of Shut Up and Take My Podcast.
What podcast is this?
I'll do the voice that I should be doing this whole time. So, welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast, a Futurama podcast that pits episode against episode in bloody glorious gauntlet battle for your entertainment. I am joined here by Philip.
Damn it, one rock short of rescue.
I am joined here by Josh.
I am indeed a hideous form of triumph and function.
And we're joined...
We're joined by a recently gone through puberty Sean.
I'm saving up to get a neon crotch.
Yeah, that was good.
That's oddly fitting.
It's a good gag, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
What's with that bird?
Which one? The one that Bender falls flat on. And
Yeah, and the bird, and it just comes, it doesn't fly away, and it goes, ah!
well,
it's a very kind of realistically drawn bird.
Yeah, and
as
it doesn't,
well.
I was like expecting it to be part of a gag, and then
Yeah.
it just wasn't.
simulations, dude, they mess with your mind.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of if you've watched the episode of Archer where he befriends the big bobcat, or it's a weird like kind of tigerish, and it just kind of sits there. It's a really realistic bobcat, but Archer just keeps having a conversation with it, and it just responds, just like. But that's not the Archer podcast that we're doing today. It's the Futurama podcast, and we're up to season 4, episode 14, Obsoletely Fabulous, which. Phil, what very popular British sitcom may that be in reference to?
I know what it is as well.
Well, yeah, I'm British, so...
So you are the...
It's AbFab, of course.
AbFab.
It's AbFab. Absolutely fabulous.
It has-
A long-running British TV sitcom about two ladies who are significantly less classy than they think they
And
are.
one successful movie? Was that got one
I
or
think
two?
so,
I think
yeah.
it's got one,
yeah.
definitely.
I'm trying to remember what their names are. The
Ab and
characters.
Fab.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Abigail and Fabigail.
And
and
they have a
Fabrice,
long-suffering daughter. One of them has a daughter.
Who's the main character in Chicken Run.
Yeah, there you go.
Director. Debut of Dwayne Carey Hill.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if they needed that introduction, but
just,
they've got it. They have it now.
And for future prosperity's sake, anytime that he directs an episode from now on, we have to say it as
Dwayne Carey Hill! This is his first time directing for Futurama, but it is not the first time he has been involved with Futurama, because he originally cut his teeth as the assistant director, or as I've written it, the arts director, to Susan Dieter, who was the director who we last saw in Less Than Hero.
Oh, okay.
A great episode, yeah.
Susan the Dieter.
But who was he? Who was that ass director? What was his name?
Arts director Dwayne Carey Hill! And the writer for the episode is Dan Weber. Dan Weber is back from Love und Rocket, the episode previous to Less Than Heroes, part of the L trilogy, if you'll all cast your minds back. Dan Weber, who I talked about in a previous episode, was involved with American Dad. He's also one of those writers that likes to poke fun at themselves. So he was, I don't know if you remember many old American Dad episodes. There's one where Steve, who's the son, it's one of those father-son episodes, you know, what's his name? Stan's the right-wing conservative man, and he's kind of... he doesn't get along with his son because his son's a bit of a nerd, a bit of a geek, but there is a terrorist. There's a terrorist about, and Steve, using his sci-fi knowledge, gets to help out because where else would you find a nerd at a convention where there is Dan Weber, the Tolkien terrorist?
Tolkien terrorist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he
I
just
don't
wants
remember
to-
that at all.
He wants to reduce Earth to Middle Earth, as in to make it Middle Earth here and now.
That's kind of like this episode.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lot like this
A
episode.
little bit of a vibe to that, right?
Yeah.
What is this episode about that had an air date on July the 27th, 2003 and introduced a Robot 1X? What would that be about?
Well, also introducing, before we get into the plot, we also have Water Wheel Robot.
Yes.
Cartridge Unit.
Sinclair X2.
Sinclair X2, who's
And
obviously
Sinclair
Robbie.
2K.
Who's
sorry.
definitely Robbie the Robot.
and a cymbal clanging monkey.
And a symbol, yeah, which is, I guess, introduced from life.
Yes.
Um,
The most obsolete.
Introducing
Yes.
from life.
Yeah. It's a very strange addition, that robot. Doesn't do a lot with him, but he's there.
He's figured life out.
Yeah, he's there all the way along.
Clang,
Is
clang,
there anyone
clang.
else? I'm
But
pretty sure
that's the foursome, and then there's just a lot of robots returning from.
yeah,
past
there's
episodes.
like
Recurring robots,
the
recurring
kitty
characters.
robot with the cap for some reason.
Oh,
the fat
T- T-
robot.
Fatbot.
Fatbot, yeah.
And Roberto.
So this obviously is a robot-centric episode. It's all about Mom unveiling a new, improved robot, Robot 1X, which the Planet Express crew they buy one to help out around the house, around the business, and Bender gets insanely jealous, so he goes for an upgrade and gets marooned when it. So it's fuck me.
Fuck me.
Fuck
Take
him.
2.
Stop.
So Bender goes for an upgrade, gets cold feet, and goes on a boat and ends up on a desert island. Downgrades himself and decides to destroy all technology. But as has happened several times before, it was all a dream. It's like the
Very recently.
third or fourth episode,
Sting.
Yeah.
where it's all a dream.
This is again one of those exceptions to that, like being a bad thing. Though I think this works for the episode, but we will get to that.
So it's all part of the upgrade program that
Also-
makes him like Robot 1X.
By the way, a second episode in a row where Bender gets a massive change to his body.
Yes. I was
Yes,
going to point
doesn't
that
that
out.
happen in the next episode rather than the previous?
No,
episode?
Bender we recorded last week.
Ben-Hur came out before this.
So he gets a massive what?
Sex change, and
Sex
now
change.
he's a massive.
Oh, and then very soon there's also a golden version of Bender.
Yes.
That comes next episode.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused.
So Bender's gone through a
because
lot
we
of-
totally
Yeah.
record these in order.
No, absolutely.
Thanks for reminding me of Ben-Hur as well, because I'm going to get to a very important point about that one as well.
So there's a run of Bender
Bender
changing.
Bender's gone through a lot of
episodes.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Changes.
Time and face the change.
And yes,
Yeah, that was my very bitty plot synopsis.
Nice.
And what do we think, Philip and Josh?
This is a good episode.
So is that with a question mark, or is that more of a statement?
This is funny. This is a good episode. Not a great episode. It's a good episode.
It's a middling episode.
Yeah. It's a
mid-
yeah. It does
fantastic-
the job. Yeah.
It's a fantastic palate cleanser after Ben-Hur as well.
Yeah, Ben-Hur was highly problematic. This is just a bit more straight down the line.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to do a lot to be able to kind of come underneath Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur, you can
Yeah.
definitely
Well, I mean, the
come under.
remake of Ben-Hur really hurt Ben-Hur in the long run.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
fuck her.
Why?
The movie, that is Ben-Hur, the remake. Yes, Phil.
So I guess what is this episode is about? It's about the march of technology and a longing for simpler things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And using Bender as a vehicle for wanting simpler things is
And how you deal
pleasingly ironic,
Yeah.
because obviously he is technology, which they take about half the episode to point out. They're like,
Yeah.
by the way, if you
It's-
hadn't noticed.
And also about like a character, such a character that has the ego the size that Bender does, dealing with being passed by.
Yes, having him knocked down a peg or two.
When he doesn't even have Fry to lean on. Fry could not care less about Bender in this
Yeah,
episode.
it's pretty perfect.
It's great. But like his eyes do not become unglued from that TV screen.
Yeah.
He's
That's
got
the
his
extent of Fry.
yeah, he's got his
Yeah.
slurm. That's all he needs.
Still
It's,
addicted, by the way.
And Bender's jealousy and hatred acting out from pure fear. He is afraid of the X1. Like he points out as well. He's like he is afraid of him.
I do
And
just point out
Leela
one
just
of my-
laughs
Yeah,
at him.
yeah.
One of my
Everyone
favorite-
glares at Leela like, Leela, you can't do that. And it's like, oh,
Why not?
One of my favorite moments of this episode is like Leela's completely justified.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
everything Bender has done.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Another thing to point out. This is taking place in the year 3003,
Yes.
which means it's 1 year earlier than Ben-Hur, but
One
Ben-Hur,
episode later as well.
yeah, and 1 year after Star Trek.
Yes.
So this makes it even more annoying that like Bender goes through in his mind this realm, this belief, and he even realizes that he wants that simpler life. Like the washing machine shows up, and he turns against it. He turns against technology. But then when he becomes a woman, it's like, It's like,
Yeah.
On the washing machine, that is my favorite reaction shot of the entire episode. So, okay, I'm following the logic here. They bring the washing machine as a gift to him. Like, we want to cheer you up. Here's the washing machine. So Bender goes up. He's like, yeah, washing machine. I can do all this stuff.
I'll do all my linens.
So hard.
Linens.
He looks back at them, and they give him the most judgmental, confused
Yeah.
look. And he's like, oh, was I not meant to...
It's a test.
Was I not meant to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not even a test. Like or even further than a test, I should say. They say, we know that you're missing technology. And it's like, okay, this person is against our beliefs, but we want to make him feel
They're nice,
safe.
aren't they? Yeah.
Oh,
They're a good bunch.
What a
And he
Wheel
totally
Robot-
corrupts them.
What a Wheel Robot and Cartridge Unit, I think, are two of my favorite characters in Futurama.
Waterwheel Robot, I like they don't overdo that gag. Like,
No,
yeah,
it's just the
I
one,
kind of
really.
expected every other scene she'd
Yeah.
be like, oh god, I'm gonna
like-
die.
Just how calm and placid she is, and then it's like just that.
I don't want to die.
I'm not going to make it this time! And Cartridge Unit just the...
What?
What? Takes it back out. What?
At first, I thought they were pre-recorded messages. On
State the
cassettes.
obvious.
Yeah.
But they're not, because State the Obvious is obviously... goes
Contextual.
against that.
Contextual,
Yes.
yeah.
And there is one where he does... And this is the thing. This is simulation rules once again, because there is one where he actually says, but Bender, you're the most... thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's like this is when you get into dream and simulation logic. Everything gets a little bit wonky.
This podcast doesn't allow for that, so we tear those apart and we make jokes
Oh
about
no,
that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
yeah, if you watching it back with the knowledge that it's all part of the program they're putting him through,
Yeah.
it becomes quite obvious that is being inserted by the simulation.
I want to know what Roberto went through. I want to know his simulation.
I want to know how Roberto keeps getting out of prison.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not that long
there's
since
a
he was out.
It wasn't a prison; it was a mental institution.
Yeah.
and he has a
before that-
parole officer.
Yeah. Because, also, if you take a real person in real life, if they hold up the same place 3 times and then go to an insane asylum, then escape from that insane asylum,
Yes,
and then get caught
arrested and then let out on a parole.
I think robots are far easier to treat because they're malignant program, like problems in the program, rather than like a psychological damage. To
But
the human.
Roberto has proven that it's
Exactly.
not.
He was being built.
Not.
He's built to be insane. Like I think we've even pointed out. What did Mum build him for? To build him to be the perfect murderer robber.
He's a stabbing machine.
He is.
Also, Mum has done something really good, and I'm cautious about that.
Oh, there's
Like,
something.
what
malignant.
is behind the 1X robot? Because
Yeah,
on paper,
yeah.
Well,
we don't go by Mum's point of view,
I
so we
think-
don't know what her purpose
I
is.
think it's as simple as the fact that she said for the 17th time the future of robotics. She's basically making another thing to sell to make even
She's
more money.
Apple, right?
Yeah, she's Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it has planned obsolescence, right? So
Yeah.
you get it this year, and then by the end of the year,
Breaks down.
Its battery lasts like an hour.
Then you get the 2X.
They start like doing forced slow down on it.
I forget
it starts being rude to you,
Yeah.
making snarky comments that you're like, was that nasty or not?
Well,
You know,
you're
it's very
sarcastic.
sophisticated, like, and you're like, hey, I think he's negging me.
And
I-
also, there's a they will be destroyed very quickly because all Bender needed to say was, "Can you please destroy yourself?" He didn't even ask him to destroy himself. He just said,
Yeah.
"I want to hurt this robot," and he was totally willing to bash himself in the head with a hammer.
Yeah, and simulation makes it a little like possible.
I'm throwing that out the rule
Yeah.
book. I don't give a shit about
You
simulation.
live in all
rules.
worlds
But
simultaneously.
the point of this podcast,
Yes.
fuck that.
I'm
shit.
pretty certain, I forget when, but I do know that the 1X does make a reappearance, and it's either obsolete or everyone has passed it by. So it is
Right,
like that
yeah.
flash in a pan kind of thing. I forget
1X,
which episode.
1X keeps showing. He shows up in one of the movies, and then
Yes.
he shows up in the background of a few other seasons.
That's what I'm
second
remembering.
run.
I'm remembering in one of the movies he shows up, and it's kind of he's not as cool as he used to be.
1X has that flaw that the Bender replacement in a previous episode has, who's too nice, where he lets Bender know, I did manage to do your job before saving your life.
Yes.
Yes.
He's just obnoxiously good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But this is the thing, like, it's funny because I wrote down Detroit Become Human because that game recently came out, and it's very much that idea of like robots becoming sentient, free will versus slavery, and in a classic David Cage style, it's a little bit, but. The Robot 1X is very much that point in there of like the obedient robot, and I was just wondering, what are you drawing there?
Doodling. I'm doodling.
Doing a limpet mine. The Robot 1X is very much that like complacent servant. The idea of there is no emotion, it is not alive, it is just doing what it's doing. Whereas Bender is fully sentient. He's got his own mind and free will.
He gets very emotional in this
Yeah,
episode.
absolutely.
Whole gamut of emotions: rage,
Even the bin is
sadness.
Because, after being a woman, he just apparently learned how to be in touch with his emotions.
He hasn't been a woman yet. Time.
That's right, yeah.
Timey-wimey.
So one of my favourite aspects is how creative they do get with Bender in this episode.
Yes.
So there's the whole wooden robot design, which is very pleasing. I love the wooden edition of Bender.
So would you have preferred the wooden Bender if he had his original design, which was having the steam generator on his back? It's not a steam generator, you know what I mean.
Like a furnace.
Like an engine of steam?
Like
An
a steam
engine of
engine.
An object that uses steam to run a wooden robot.
A computer that runs
A
games.
steam engine.
Why do you say that? Does he have that
Oh,
in an early draft?
Well, not that I've said this before in a previous iteration of this
seamless.
recording.
Utterly
But
seamless.
Did you know that the writer of this episode, Dan Weber, in his original drawing of the
I didn't know
character,
that. You definitely didn't say that before
put
the
the steam
recording.
engine on the back of the robot, Phil?
Okay, well, I would have liked that. Yes,
Oh.
to answer your actual question, yes, I think that would have been cool.
Shocking!
I don't know
Sexy
why
Chris-
I don't know why they removed it. They should call me.
Sexy Chris, please keep this all in. This is just gold.
It's. Did you know that?
I don't care.
Did you know?
He's also a CD player,
Yes.
which is
Better
obsolete
function.
in and of its own.
Yes.
He's a lighthouse.
Oh, it's such a good bit.
And he can walk using his eyes.
Yes.
That is-
which he may have
Eyelids.
done
Eyelids.
before. I'm not sure.
I think he's used a lot of his eye, like, extending better
As
than he's
other
ever-
body parts, yeah.
I
Yeah.
just remember seeing that happen. I'm like, this is a great bit. And I looked up and I saw Phil smile, and then looked down at his notes and start writing. I'm like, that's a Bender function.
It's a
right
Bender
there.
function.
That is probably my favorite portion of the whole episode is Bender by himself on the island before he's discovered, just trying to keep himself occupied.
Trying to make yam schnapps,
Yeah.
which sounds awful.
And he's also got 3 very strong supporting robots and 1 simple clanging monkey that really make that island adventure fun. Like, it's just those. And I think the weakest of them is Sinclair, only because they make jokes about him being stupid.
Yeah, they don't do much with Sinclair.
No,
Yeah,
but there is one nice bit at the end where it's like aim
Well, I
for the-
mean, you understand why they make him stupid, right?
because he doesn't have enough memory.
Because it's the original Sinclair computer. So the Sinclair computer, which was in the 70s, only held 2 kilobytes.
Oh,
Thus,
that's why
Sinclair
Sinclair
2K.
That's
so it
genius.
could only hold 2 kilobytes on, and this
Yeah.
was a miraculous thing in
Yes,
the
that's
70s.
right,
And
yeah.
that would have been when it was about the size of a large
It was like a very
warehouse.
It was like
Yeah.
a tiny little laptop-looking computer.
Oh,
I
really?
had a look at it, and it just looks like almost like a calculator.
Yeah.
So he's in there for that one gag for computer history nerds.
That's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
It's sly. I like it.
And also, I'm a really big fan of the tape deck robot. Just like how simple a design is, and like even rewatching this episode, I was like, I remember Water Wheel Robot. I remember her very well, and I remember Sinclair only because he was kind of thick, and I remember Simple Clanging Monkey. But I was like, is that a mailman robot? What is it? And then a moment I see him grab the tape. I'm like, oh, I remember who he is now.
Yeah.
That's just a nice little bit of animation and even character. He has like pre-programmed lines, but my god, does he have a lot of personality.
And I haven't seen the Forbidden Planet, but yes, Roddy the robot.
He looks a
yes.
lot like Robbie
Yeah,
the
he does
Robot.
look very Robbie.
Yeah. The new Lost in Space is pretty bad, by the way.
I like the ending.
Anyway, I don't know. That's a complete tangent.
On that tangent, I watched 3 episodes and then I gave up.
Yeah, it's way too wholesome for me, I'm afraid. And just terrible acting from some of the cast.
Yeah, go.
Speaking of terrible acting,
Phil, no. I was going to say, yes, this is what I was going to say. Good gags and a nice kind of central concept. It just doesn't really advance into the characters that much. I think that's what's missing from this episode that makes it sort of a middling episode, is there's nothing to hook onto in terms of like, let's grow these characters and let's have an insight into them and feel some feels.
especially when you compare it to the Sting, where the dream idea is used for strengthening something that everybody
Brian
wants. Yeah, absolutely.
Not every episode can do that,
No, absolutely.
obviously, but
But it's what
Makes
differentiates a good episode from a great episode.
yes, that's right.
I feel like if this episode, if the guy who was the writer for this episode again,
Dan Weber.
if Dan Weber did bend her, I think that this would have been both would both be a much better episode, because Bender gives a lot of respect to the idea in this episode, especially of a simpler life, and then Bend Her, it's just the joke. There's no kindness.
It's just sorts of digs.
Yes.
But also, how much easier is it just to sympathize with Bender in this
Yeah.
episode? It's just, he's
lovable again. It's
Yeah.
so strange, like, because a lot of the terminology you were using to describe Bender was awful and creature and despicable
Oh, he
and
is.
horrible.
Yeah.
And in this one, I'm just constantly going, oh, he's in a bin. Bender in a bin is one of the most
Put himself
tragic
in the bin.
things.
Well, it's a second child syndrome. First child syndrome. It's like the idea that's like, oh, the new baby's here. I'm no longer important, and it's you see that kind of come through. And again, it shows how emotional he is, whereas in the previous episode, it was like, no, emotions are bad.
Also, in that scene,
Although
Amy's me as a kid, I would never sit on the actual couch.
Nah.
I would sit before in some weird, awkward position.
Yeah.
That I could never do it 27
I still
now.
do that. It's great.
My back can't handle it, man.
speaking of loving Bender,
Yes.
he does break into the orphanarium to smash their nightlight
Yeah.
with a tiny hammer,
Also,
which is
potentially-
terrible.
Yes.
Potentially his kids, too.
Yes.
Absolutely his kids.
They're just like, Daddy? No! Go to bed.
Also, Bender function of the week, he's able to find vines in the middle of New York.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
See, here's my question, and this is a thing I always thought about as a kid. Spider-Man.
Yes.
Are there just webs hanging all over the city that people just have to clean up after him constantly?
I think
they dissolve,
Yeah,
don't they?
in the later Spider-Man stuff, they said that the webs eventually dissolve over time. So it
Okay,
was
but
that-
so old Spider-Man, though, there's just webs
just
hanging
everywhere.
in
There's
a
a whole
really high place.
There's a whole department of the city that is
Cleanup crew.
Cleanup crew goes
yeah, exactly.
around. Yeah.
Although they're having a great time because it's like, oh, I get to work all day, just cleaning up webs.
Except for when you touch one, it's hyper sticky.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole
Phil,
mess.
get down there! I'm stuck up here again.
Stuck again.
But no, I even think you just made me think of the original Spider-Man cartoon where it was like 6 frames of animation and they always had the same web swinging thing.
Oh, yes.
And you'd never see what the web's attached to, and it's like one building, yet it's attached to the sky. It's
That's how the old Spider-Man games worked. You literally
Yeah.
shot webs
Into just
at the
nothing.
skybox and swung off nothing.
newer ones are pretty nice because it's like, oh, there's actually a building. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
it actually
cool.
works how it should. Yeah.
Simple physics. Also, like a nice little surprise appearance from Wernstrom in this episode.
They have a good old fist fight, don't they? Yeah.
I love how they are the ones that fight, and the killer robot's like, oh, such a senseless rage. Let's go for a paddleboat ride.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that-
so sweet.
I like that they deliberately set up directly next to each
Yes.
other. And also, just as a little note,
Mothers prefer Farnsworth Killbots.
Farnsworth is so petty that on the tarp that's on the top of his little stand, right?
Yeah.
He has tied that to Wernstrom's side, not his own. Just as a little petty.
That's
like,
awesome.
No.
Also, it's nice to see that robots are cats in this world as well.
Yes.
The robot scratching
Yeah,
post.
it's so strange.
It's such an obvious joke, but I love it. Ben is like, I would never do that. Then just in the background,
with the deedly boppers,
Yeah.
just go.
and
Yeah.
then he is.
Yeah.
It's so lovely.
The secret is scratching really hard. It's oh, good.
Why look, the robots love moms so much.
It's in their
it's built
program.
in.
Yeah,
Built in.
of course it is. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That very obvious aspect that we've covered before.
But
Disregard.
yeah.
Move on.
No, keep going.
So
I was just
rewind.
building a-
Rewind.
Yeah.
Phil, what were you going to say?
Nothing.
Oh,
I didn't have a point.
You just wanted to point out that they love mum.
all your 2
Yeah.
kilobytes have been used up.
I was just going to say,
Sorry to cut you off then.
It's highly illogical. Mum's terrible.
Is there a robot at all that has shown any dislike? Because Roberto hasn't. Roberto
No.
loves,
They all love Mum.
but
yeah.
Roberto has a problematic mother as well, which is Mum.
Yeah.
We discussed that too. No robot has ever showed any sort of
I
hatred
know
because they love their mum.
Bender's gone against Mum. I know that Bender goes against Mum in the video game, but I think that's the only sign of like defiance.
It must be so hardwired into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they all go crazy on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
They want to give her presents. I was going to mention the termites. It's a really sweet gag.
And the extendable arms.
Oh, they just.
Ba-boom.
I love the sound effects there. The wooden sound effects.
Whoever
They're
was
nice.
like Foley artist, this had a great
Yeah, it's
time.
great.
or just like he just crawls into the fire.
Yeah,
Just can't do anything.
but it does reveal that Bender truly loves his friends.
and Zoidberg.
and Zoidberg.
Zoidberg. Yeah, and that again, we're pissing on Zoidberg again. Zoidberg has a fantastic line in this episode. There's one line in the episode, and it's a great line.
I can't even remember it. It's when they're waiting for
It's like,
the
well, I guess everything worked out all right.
Yeah.
So Amy has one line.
Two.
yeah.
Amy has the
Splur.
Yeah.
Just watch TV
And then
or
her
whatever.
Or
funky
splish, I think she maybe says.
Splish
something
or
along-
She always has a different slang word.
and then Hermes has a classic Hermes.
This
line.
fuel is very
Fuel is
expensive.
very expensive.
And Farnsworth,
also, we're dying.
And Farnsworth rage as well. Just the idea of just like,
Yes.
yes, go get the upgrade.
They use a lot of time on those timing gags.
Yes.
At least
Which
30 seconds.
I think it's like they were trying to subvert expectations, like especially with that bird thing as well. It's like you're expecting something to happen with the bird, and then it doesn't
I think you're
happen.
expecting him to. Well, I was expecting him to flatten the birds.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he doesn't.
Well, this is like it's like
It's a third timing gag about falling, isn't it?
Yes.
There are 3.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the one in
the Beck episode.
Thank you.
That's what I was thinking of because like the idea
someone fat get in my
of
way.
he crushes the
Skinny
person.
one.
Oh, also Poseidon. I think that is one of my favorite cutaway gags that comes back to.
Oh, jeez.
And then like it cuts back where the episode picks up, and it's like, "Curse you, merciful Poseidon!" I'm like, that's great. It's...
I like the water
Yeah.
in that bit. The
Also-
The only use
animation.
of 3D in that.
I was gonna say it's weird when they put in the 3D and it really stands out.
Like, Planet Express ship 3D looks fine. Bender always looks strange.
He looks a bit odd,
in
doesn't
3D.
he? Yeah.
Ben
There-
doesn't
there were-
look good in 3D.
There were 2 moments of Bender that made me really think about the recording booth. That was him, like, on the waves going, whoa, whoa, and the other one is when he's drunk because he hasn't had booze for like 3 days, and he's just like, It sounds like a lot of fun.
My favorite Foley is him playing with the cat scratching pose. I love Bender's noise of meow.
He does this episode would cause him to make a lot of
John, can
just
you just
general
spend
noises.
Can you spend 5 minutes, John, just making noises, please?
Can you give us like a sort of like if you were lying down trying to reach something noise? I think that this is one of my the sequence where he first gets on the island with like finding the shelter, writing the note, becoming a lighthouse. I think that's some of my favorite Bender stuff ever. Like that is just genuinely nicely, and even that moment where he's like, "Okay, time to do what I always do when I run out of booze," and he falls to his knees and screams and cries. It's like
That's what I was saying earlier. Is like Bender can like spending time with Bender in an episode by himself. You never run out of material.
Yeah.
Like,
You can be really creative with him, his character design and who he is, his personality means you can do a lot with him.
how he interacts with just society and just nature, and like he doesn't understand that, which is weird. Because wait, in chronology, what comes first, the Sting or this episode?
the Sting doesn't have a year
Not sure you
date in
can
it.
easily peg the Sting.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
like where no fan has gone before is
I was just thinking about his relationship with the beehive.
yeah, and it's funny that you say that as well. Like this episode shows that.
I'm leaning away from the mic.
Yeah, but when you become boss nass, you're like. But when you give the time to actually show that Bender can grow as a character and he gives respect.
He learns nothing.
Well, he does learn something in this.
I guess he gets reprogrammed.
He learns that reality is whatever the fuck you want.
But-
Oh yeah, that closing shot is so stupid. I love it.
But this is the thing. Like, if you give that same respect to Ben-Hur could have been good.
Yeah, it's just a flaw of writing, and the subject material is a lot less touchy in this. Like the subject material in this is like people want to get back to nature, and we're addicted to technology, and
or getting passed by, which I'm okay with happening. Like I'm fully.
Yeah.
you
fine
better
with
be.
that concept.
You better be
It's
because it's coming.
Oh no, it's happened.
Oh, it's gone. You're in the rearview mirror. You're fading into obscurity.
He's the T-Rex from
Objects are not
Lost
bigger
World.
than they appear in me. I'm minuscule.
They're far smaller. Wow, this is a real pity party.
But there's even the simpler nature, simpler plot, and you're able to explore love and love of a world and of people. And Bender gets that a little bit.
I like the issue covered in this as well because as someone who's ridiculously addicted to technology, I kind of like the exploration of the idea of getting back to nature and having a simpler life. Because while it's something that appeals to me, it's something I will never ever do.
What was the air date for this episode?
July 27th, 2003.
Which
so
makes
15 years ago.
Makes it even more interesting that even then they were pointing out the idea of stepping away from technology and being addicted to technology.
Well, I think
that was at its point where it was starting to get explosive.
I think
social
it's
media
been...
wasn't really a thing in 2003 at all. It wouldn't be for another. Because when did MySpace kind of crop up into the 2003?
I think it was
When did MySpace pop up?
It's got to be about 2005.
Yeah.
Really?
Because we had like...
Is social media that recent?
Well, 'cause
after
remember
2005?
Remember things like we had MSN Messenger and AOL. But
Yeah,
we had,
I
we
remember
had chat
clearly,
rooms and online
But
chat.
you couldn't take it with you. You could never
No.
take it in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to check up on MySpace just to make sure that it still exists.
Because MySpace is like a banned website now. It's doing well for
I think that's
itself.
why
wow.
it started.
It's funny as well. MySpace started 1st of August 2003.
First
So-
of all, when did it... Is that
Okay.
when it was created, or when did it become public
founded.
access?
That was when it was founded.
Yeah.
So and this episode would have been written before then. And
Yeah, so it's before the advent of
Yeah.
of really widespread social media by a long way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that was back when.
But people have always wanted to get back to a simpler life, since the 60s.
But then-
you know,
And then when they get there, they're like, "Oh no, we didn't want a simpler
Yeah.
life. We just want curfews on technology."
that's right. I mean, the Good Life, the TV show, is all about a rejection of cold suburban living, to have a bit more of a touch of nature in your life, and that show's from the 60s, I think, 70s. I think it's a 70s show.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. So it's not exactly a new idea.
No.
Yeah.
But then you compare it directly to like The Jetsons, an old show where it was like, "Look how technology will make everything amazing."
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Here.
All right, guys. Well, yes, and just one last note. I don't have any opinion on it, but I just wrote duck biting Bender.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
The
Why are there ducks on a desert island? It's very strange, and they've all managed to get themselves
caught
caught in the same.
I'm going to point out one thing, and Sean's not going to like it, but it was a simulation.
It's a simulation.
It was a simulation, damn it!
It's a simulation. All the ducks had a drink of beer, and then they all got caught simultaneously.
I love that
yeah.
all the ducklings were born in the ring holder, though. That is like, oh god, what are we doing to this planet?
Mutation, yeah.
It's nice to know 3,000 years we still haven't gotten rid of single-use plastics.
Yeah.
Well, our suggestion to combat global warming is just to chuck a big fucking piece of ice in the sea.
Yeah, that's true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Or fire all the garbage into space.
Yeah, we got conservation down pat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do they actually solve it? All the robots burp their pollution in the same direction?
Excrete all their gases
Yeah.
directly up in the air and just move the
So
planet.
cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Which apparently is scientifically kind of accurate.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
if you were to move the sun or the planet that distance away, it would help the global warming. I remember look, I can't give you.
I think we raised it in Crimes of the Heart. It's just that
Yeah.
if even one thing goes tiny wrong, it's gonna destroy the planet.
Oh yeah, it's not exact science, but it's
Yeah.
plausible.
It's
If
a pseudoscience.
if we create robots and make them excrete gases in the air,
Yeah.
it's possible.
Move
Phil.
the Earth.
It's possible.
Let's leave that. Let's just shelve that
Let's
idea.
leave it and scoot on over to the vote.
I mean, I think we all know where this
Let's
is going.
go from our current winner, Bend Her.
Yes,
Yes.
because of Ellen's clinching vote.
No, so the Sting
Yep.
up against Obsoletely Fabulous, directed by Dwayne Carey Hill. It's the Sting for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's the Sting by a slam dunk. Not
And a
to
home run.
not to shit on this
And a
episode.
touchdown.
The field goal.
And
whatever
just a
happens in
normal
lacrosse.
goal.
I was about to say lacrosse. Holy shit, Sean, get out of my head.
Yeah,
What's
the
happening in
Sting.
lacrosse? Email baby bit me. Yeah.
The Sting's more creative, and
And it utilizes the dream plot
Yeah.
to far more
Yeah.
success.
Well, it's kind of the Sting
good.
uses everything that this episode uses, except the Sting does it better.
Yeah.
uses more of the characters.
Progresses
yeah.
the overall plot of Futurama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That was easy.
made me feel a little bit touchy. Okay, as far as the voice, let's do the superior being 1X.
Well, could we choose any of
You can choose any of the robots
The
that have been
Fantastic Foursome?
introduced in
The
this.
many robots.
I think it's going to be the X1, though.
The 1X.
I just wanted to let you know, I did your job before saving your life.
I apologize. However, I was able to do your job before I saved your life.
I'm trying to think of a 1X robot line. How much change did he have? It was like very specific.
$4.75
and
and
an
one
Albanian.
Yeah. Calculating. $4.17 and an Albanian penny.
Oh yes, and also just
Task completed.
Task
completed.
A quick shout out to one of my favorite lines of this episode. Take that Beethoven, you deaf bastard.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of hate on Beethoven.
I really was hoping for a sight gag of what his Desert Island discs were.
Oh, to actually see what was on those.
Yeah,
discs that
yeah,
were
like
destroyed.
nice close up as he stomped them.
Yeah.
So if you freeze frame it or a real quick reader, you can see what he's chosen.
Or even if you put it in and like on his eyes, you see like the tracks.
track listing, yeah.
Just all 10 CDs of Beck.
Yeah, it's just his own music. That would be
Poor Beck Bender relations. They all fell apart.
Now, for the first time ever, I'm remembering the next part of the thing that I do here.
The format.
The format.
Chris, cut that out so that it looks weird.
So the next I talk about format. You can see us next week, and don't see us. You can see the waveform. I'll get this eventually. Hey guys, I'm Sean. I've fucking hosted this podcast for a year and a half, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
His accents have been pitching and shifting the whole way through as well.
The Farnsworth Parabox is what you can listen to if you're still with us by that point.
the sigh in his voice.
I'm just
Yes, come back next week to listen to the Farnsworth Parabox.
I know I will.
I've been passed by. Every
An
aspect.
episode that deals with parallel universes, much
And we'll,
like our own.
We have the return of the One Good Thing podcast, Paul and Paul. So please do check them out if you haven't already, and give them a like, a listen. And also, if you want to contact us for any reason, you can do so by emailing babybeardmedia@gmail.com.
Do you ever read that email address? I haven't been on there for a while.
Don't tell them.
I'm just reassuring them that he checks that regularly.
I get notified if anything pings from the Baby Beard.
There you go. We will find you.
I will vibrate.
We're also on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, if that's your bag. All our podcasts are available on Stitcher, Spreaker, and iTunes.
Yeah, and if you enjoy having me here and not having me here next week, give us a 5 stars or a wooden splintery ass of approval.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, on iTunes preferably, because we want to see those comments say Splinterbutt. Just for hashtag Splinterbutt.
Hashtag Splinterbutt.
So
It's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
So speaking of people getting in contact with us, we can make this a new segment. We have a few people that have contacted us about certain things.
So this can be called, like, Speak Up and be on our podcast.
I was gonna call it "Fuck." Finally, someone's talking to us.
I was going to call it.
I like mine better.
There's more of a ring to it.
Sean's got your bag, baby.
Oh.
So,
Still like mine the best.
Ivy wrote into us on Spreaker. This is about the Bend Her episode.
Oh, yes.
And she says, so this is in reference to when Ellen was talking about the outfit that Hermes wore during the Olympics.
Yes.
The speed suit. Ivy wrote, the swimsuit ban referenced by Ellen was to do with the suits being judged to have unfair amounts of buoyancy. Some teams couldn't use the suits because they were manufactured by Speedo, which not all the teams had a contract with. In addition, because the suits were amazing at removing drag and adding buoyancy, some athletes would layer them to boost the effects. This was actually branded as technological doping.
So is the abuse of something that was already abusable in...
Yeah, and just having a material advantage.
I still support. just have a cheaters league. Just have a cheaters league.
Yeah.
And just keep talking for a minute while I find the other message that was...
Thanks for that little insight. That's, did we determine whether the Hermes suit came before or after the real world controversy?
It would have been... That was 2000 Olympics, so it would have been after.
Yeah, okay. So maybe it is a little nod to that.
Yeah, was it the 2000 Olympics with the bodysuit?
Yeah, it would have been. The
Yeah,
Sydney,
so,
Sydney,
yeah, would have been-
Sydney Olympics.
would have
yeah.
been-
Sort of come afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, and so we also... So here's a little fun thing, a first. So I was doing a bit of research on Futurama for the episode a couple of weeks back about... It would have been the Sting or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was looking up certain writers for the Futurama.
Yes.
And
The Futurama.
I found on Twitter
Yes.
the writer for Where No Fan Has Gone Before, David A. Goodman.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote it in like 10 days or something.
And the jury duty.
Yeah.
I contacted him.
Oh.
He wrote back.
Oh, yay!
Stop talking to me. Leave me alone.
I've got scripts to write.
So I contacted him in regards to the joke that Josh believed went a certain way.
Oh,
and
no.
I wanted him to clarify the position.
No.
What was? Can you for our? So for our listeners, what was the gag?
Okay,
if you
so
don't remember.
Back at When No Fan Has Gone Before, there's a joke towards the end of the podcast where William Shatner and the crew start talking about how, well, maybe it wasn't so bad what happened with
Oh,
Melba.
yeah, but they have to deal with one fan, and they
Sean-
say, get us out of here.
Sean,
Yeah.
did you, just before you read it out, did you contact someone internationally to point out a mistake that I've made for over 15 years from
Yeah,
watching
but
this?
you
Yes.
you might be right.
Look, your rage at me indicates that I was wrong. I know I'm wrong.
You're completely
But
wrong.
can't I believe... Look, let's just hope. Let's just hope.
No, you're, I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
David A. Goodman,
Damn it,
verified on Twitter, responded thusly,
Sean, no, why?
"You are correct, your friend is not."
Yes.
Wait, I am correct or you are correct?
No, we're correct.
Talking
You're
to
right.
me.
Oh, David, why?
The joke is they can have everything they want, and all they have to put up with is one really annoying Star Trek fan they'd rather live in their jars.
Yes, fair enough. I can't believe you used your possibly once ever Twitter contact with a writer to verify something we pretty much were 100% on.
Do you want to know what the second discussion was? So I responded to him afterwards. I'm like, hey man, thanks so much. That was
My friend Josh is a moron.
because he responded within 20 minutes of me sending
Wow,
him a
that's
message.
great. He's got nothing to do.
Whoa, we like him.
Whoa, we like him. Shut up, Phil.
I like him, even though he clearly called me an idiot on social media.
Here's the thing though. So I'm like, okay, I talked to him about nothing. I didn't say listen to the podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I said, hey man, if you are ever interested, we actually did your episode just recently. If
Yeah.
you would like to have a listen, I didn't give him the link. I just said, if you want to have a listen,
Yeah.
love to hear your thoughts. Never responded.
No. Yeah. I mean, if I made a
Fair.
TV show, I would not listen to people pick it apart for half an hour.
Sean, you were like this close. You were in, and then it was like,
I
just
should have
swerve right.
I should have asked him to get a drink first, and
Yeah.
would have been.
My friend Josh wants to argue with you about how he's right and you're not.
But David A. Goodman right now, if you want to know, he's working on Orville.
Oh, great.
Oh, God, I need to watch this.
I don't know how to find episodes of that. Because it's
I've
on.
tried.
Yeah, I tried too. I could
the
not find it.
Googles and the
It's on a weird platform. I'm
Maybe
not
it's-
sure. It
maybe
might be
it's
on
on- is it on
Fox.
Foxtel?
It's on Fox,
Which
yeah,
is our
which is
Australian
very
equivalent
hard
of
to
cable
get hold
TV.
of.
Well,
yeah.
then you could totally. I'm saying this that you shouldn't watch it illegally.
Yeah, get an emulator.
Shouldn't
Definitely
go.
do not do that.
Yes, we are all shaking our heads as indicating that we don't.
So if you want to be read out on our podcast, then speak up and be on our podcast.
Want to argue with us? Want to point out how we're wrong? Write to us.
We're wrong constantly, all of us.
This is a first for me. I've actually had someone
my default
contact me to tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. In the meantime, bye.
Bye.
Bye. I have been Sean.
I've been Phil.
I am clearly wrong.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Jesus Christ.
Sean, that's amazing. Thanks for not telling me about that.
I totally forgot I did that. That was weeks ago, and I was like, oh wait, I got contacted by a Futurama writer.
That's brilliant.
That would have been a great part of the wedding speech.
Yeah.
I really regret that.
So annoyed at my dad.
Have we told this story?
No.
So
My dad is like, he's an ultimate dad joke roaster kind of person. And so he said some words at my wedding, my reception. And quite a few people were a bit annoyed at him because he gave me a hard time.
It was a 10-15 minutes roast about his son.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, the last 15 seconds was, but we're proud of you.
But we're
and we
so
love you,
fucking
right?
proud of you. This is amazing. You're great.
I mean, asking you as it was about.
I wasn't upset.
as the
It's exactly
MC
what I expected.